Perfect Vermin is one of the best anti-smoking games ever made, but you're only going to know that after it's too late. The game starts off inside an elevator. You're shown the controls and then you enter what seems to be an office. Also notice the anti-smoking signs next to the door, the first reference to smoking in this game. You have a sledgehammer in hand, so what's the only logical thing to do in this situation? You just killed a vermin. They disguise themselves as regular office items to try and blend in with their surroundings, and seemingly your job is to go around and smash them all, as the counter in the top left of your screen has changed from a 5 to a 4, therefore showing you the objective of the game. On the first playthrough it might be a bit tricky to find where they all are, but after the first level you'll find that all the vermin are really bad at hiding. All the objects they copy are either really out of place, like a chair in the bathroom, or they copy another object and sit right by it, like 2 fridges in the kitchen area. After you've smashed all the vermin, a news reporter tells you to return to the elevator to try it again. The reporter has an ashtray with a couple of cigarettes stumped out on it, yet another reference to smoking. The reporter also has yellow nails and seems to be panting, 2 common side effects from smoking. He tells you to do it again, but better. This time the reporter watches you do it as you play through a smaller screen, as well as having a timer run against you. This adds a little bit of pressure to try and find all the vermin, but it's still pretty manageable at this stage in the game, especially as all the vermin are in the same place as last time. As you're working your way through the vermin, the reporter tells you that they're spreading throughout the building and that they hide poorly. Speaking of the reporter, he now looks a little bit worse off, his nails having turned black and more cigarettes filling the ashtray, showing that he's smoking more and the side effects are getting worse. After smashing all the vermin, the reporter tells you to return to the elevator again, as the building has more chambers that need cleansing. The reporter looks worse now, panting more and having blood dripping down from his nose. This time the layout of the office has changed, and also having a different number of vermin to crush still in the 90-second time limit. A slight increase in difficulty, but nothing ridiculously hard. In this level, you sometimes get a message from the reporter when you kill a vermin. When you kill the last one, the reporter comes back, this time looking significantly worse, having bulges in his skin and having his head in his hands. He says that it took longer than he expected and that it needs you to work faster, and he needs you to return to the elevator as the next floors are contaminated. Next, he tells you that the next floor's geometry has become uncooperative and tells you to work quickly. This potentially means the office is fighting against you, trying to not let you get to the vermin. The room before the office has more no smoking signs, a contrast to the one that was in the earlier levels. On this level, the whole office is upside down, chairs and desks have been stuck to the ceiling, disorientating you, making it harder to find and kill all the vermin. The reporter doesn't say much during this level, only offering a small bit of encouragement. It cuts to the reporter with his head in his hands, almost looking like he's crying. It cuts back with him telling you to just go. A stark contrast from before where he would insult you and boss you around. Returning to the elevator, it takes you to the next floor. The reporter sits there motionless, blood dripping down onto the desk and his face being covered in bruises and swelling. Your screen has also split into 2, with you having 2 different characters and 2 different offices, but you're controlling them at the same time, as well as the counter saying 10 instead of 5. To beat this level, I would suggest focusing one screen at a time, first killing 5 vermin and then focusing on the other side to kill the rest. The reporter doesn't say anything to you through this entire level. After you've completed the level, it cuts to a room filled with no smoking signs. As soon as you break the door, the reporter comes back, looking mutilated and deformed, like he's melting into the desk. The whole office has changed and distorted, as well as you having 20 vermin to kill, more than any other level in the game. The gravity being off makes it impossible to traverse through the level, but you don't really have time to focus on that as the reporter starts to talk again. You're put into some sort of tube. The walls are made out of flesh, and there's some sort of white spots on the wall in front of you. Behind you is a wall that pushes you forwards. After you smash all the white spots, the wall crumbles to show the next one. And after you smash the final wall, you can see the elevator again. All the smoking had caught up to Mr. Shibbs, and the ending of the game is probably also the ending of his life. The final room of the game is a doctor's office, where the doctor gives Mr. Shibbs the test result, saying that it turned out to be what they'd feared. But all throughout the meeting, Mr. Shibbs is trying to get out of there, saying that the massacre downtown is more important and that he needs to get down there to do a report on it. He doesn't care about the diagnosis and is much more focused on his job, with his final words in the game being, "No one will care about my death until I prove to them I lived." Which, to be fair, it does go pretty hard. However, in this situation, it's a very destructive attitude and ultimately did lead to his death. In his final monologue, he talks about how he hated his mother, but in the end he ended up like her, focusing too much on his career, but also falling to the same habits that he hated so much. He wishes he had more time, and he becomes more remorseful than he was earlier on in his life. Now, there are some theories about this game. The one that's most likely is the player is actually the treatment for the cancer in the reporter's body. Going through all the levels is the treatment going through the body, showing how the cancer is spreading through the body. This would also work as the reporter took his career so seriously and put everything into it, therefore it would make sense that his body would be represented by the place he spent the most time at, the office. Each level is a different part of the body. For example, the split screen level could be the lungs, and one of the later levels could be the brain, as it's been more affected by the smoking. However, another theory could be that the massacre downtown is actually the player going through the office. In the final room, the reporter says that the massacre downtown is occurring at an office, therefore backing up this theory. The news reporter is at his desk every time he pops up because he's reporting on the story, slowly deteriorating because he left the doctor's office to come to the massacre downtown to make a report. Now, that theory is a little far-fetched, but it's an alternative to the more popular one. The message of this game cannot be understated. Smoking is extremely dangerous, and the game does a brilliant job at making the player understand that. Seeing the decline of a reporter and what smoking turns them into, albeit over-dramatised, is still what people can expect from heavily smoking, making this game one of the best anti-smoking pieces of media I think I've ever seen, especially as you only know that when it's too late.